In the beginning, we see a kid named Park Si-eun, the math whiz of the school, who is known for his remarkable ability to solve complex equations in his head. He's a genius, but his dedication to his studies has left him with no social life. While other students run around and chat, Si-eun is always buried in his books. It's said that Si-eun has never cracked a smile, earning him the nickname, the creep, among his classmates. But Si-eun doesn't mind the teasing, he's focused on acing his exams. One day, Si-eun's academic progress earns him a prestigious award, sparking envy among his peers, especially Soo-gyum, the school bully. Determined to put Si-eun in his place, Soo-gyum slaps him with a slipper and tries to intimidate him. But Si-eun remains unfazed, calmly warning Soo-gyum to stop. However, Soo-gyum sees it as a challenge and prepares to escalate the conflict. Just then, a group of senior boys storm into the classroom looking for a troublemaker named Soo-ho. Despite appearing indifferent, Soo-ho admits to being the one they're looking for. The seniors don't back down and attack him, expecting an easy victory. To everyone's surprise, including Si-eun's, Soo-ho effortlessly defeats the seniors in a one-sided brawl. Meanwhile, Si-eun, who seems uninterested in the commotion, wishes the fight would end so he can return to his studies. The next day, Soo-gyum and his gang target Si-eun again, this time stealing his books. When Si-eun confronts them, they beat him up in the storeroom. Despite the humiliation, Si-eun remains stoic, refusing to let the bullies see his pain. Frustrated by Si-eun's resilience, Soo-gyum hatches a plan to ruin his exams. That night, they obtain drugs from a local dealer, including fentanyl patches, a dangerous substance that causes hallucinations and vomiting. Soon, a new student named Bom-seok joins the class. He's shy and nerdy, but there's more to him than meets the eye. Soo-gyum, the bully, sets his sights on the new student, Bom-seok, after learning about his history of being bullied in his previous school. Using this information as leverage, Soo-gyum blackmails Bom-seok into doing something wicked. With exams about to start, Soo-gyum orders Bom-seok to sneakily apply a fentanyl patch on Si-eun's neck during the test. Now Bom-seok has no other option, so he agrees. During the exam, Bom-seok approaches Si-eun from behind and discreetly attaches the narcotic patch. When Si-eun feels dizzy and nauseous, Bom-seok lies, claiming Si-eun was swatting away a fly. Si-eun rushes to the bathroom, vomiting for hours, and by the time he returns, the exam is over. Furious at the possibility of failing for the first time, Si-eun snaps and seeks revenge on the bullies. As Si-eun approaches Soo-gyum and his cronies, time seems to slow down, allowing Si-eun to calculate his moves strategically. Armed with a pen and a thick book, Si-eun unleashes a brutal assault on Soo-gyum, injuring him severely. Before Si-eun can inflict fatal harm, Soo-ho, the martial arts expert, intervenes and stops him. The scene shifts to the hospital, where Soo-gyum receives treatment for his injuries. His mother, believing her son was bullied, demands justice. However, Si-eun arrives with the school principal and reveals the truth about the incident, including the illegal substance used by Soo-gyum. Shocked and appalled, the principal reprimands Soo-gyum instead of punishing Si-eun, recognizing the true perpetrator of wrongdoing. The next day at school, Si-eun notices a change in how everyone treats him. Even the bullies now regard him with fear and respect. Bom-seok, feeling guilty, tries to apologize to Si-eun, but the math genius brushes him off and walks away. Meanwhile, Soo-gyum, still seething with anger and humiliation, receives a visit from his cousin, Seok-dae, a notorious gangster. Determined to seek revenge, Soo-gyum strikes a deal with Seok-dae to teach Si-eun a lesson. A few days later, Soo-gyum, now recovered, orchestrates a plan with Seok-dae and his gang to ambush Si-eun at the school entrance. When Si-eun arrives, Seok-dae wastes no time in slapping him, signaling the beginning of the assault. They drag Si-eun away to a secluded area to beat him. Witnessing the attack, Bom-seok rushes to seek help from Soo-ho, the martial arts expert of the class. Although initially reluctant to get involved, Soo-ho agrees after Bom-seok offers to pay him $500. Together, they ride off on Soo-ho's scooter in search of Si-eun. Meanwhile, Si-eun finds himself outnumbered and overpowered by Soo-gyum and the gangsters. Despite his attempts to fight back using his mathematical prowess, Si-eun struggles to defend himself. Soo-gyum delivers relentless kicks to Si-eun's head until Soo-ho arrives just in time, launching a powerful karate kick to thwart the attackers. A fierce fight begins, with Soo-ho taking on Sok-dae while the others gang up on Si-eun. Even Bom-sok joins the fray, choosing to stand by his friends. Eventually, the combined efforts of Si-eun and Soo-ho prevail, leaving Soo-gyum and his cousin embarrassed and defeated. After their victorious brawl, Soo-ho treats the boys to a meal at the restaurant where he works part-time. They relish their food and cherish their newfound friendship. For Si-eun, who usually keeps to himself, it's a novel experience to dine with others. Meanwhile, Sok-dae faces the wrath of his boss, Gil-soo, for getting beaten up by teenagers. In a fit of anger, Gil-soo punishes Sok-dae severely, breaking his arm as a form of retribution. In another part of town, Si-eun is shopping at a department store when he encounters one of Sok-dae's associates attempting to shoplift. The girl, caught in the act, quickly pretends to be Si-eun's friend to avoid getting caught. Feeling awkward, Si-eun reluctantly agrees to escort her out. However, when he realizes it's raining and the girl doesn't have an umbrella, he decides to accompany her home. On their way, they stop at a restaurant to take shelter from the rain and grab a bite to eat. Over lunch, the girl, named Yeon Shi-eun, opens up about her difficult circumstances. She reveals that she's an orphan living with Sok-dae and others, and she's forced to work for Gil-soo due to her lack of family and finances. Despite Yeon Shi's attempts to engage Si-eun in conversation about himself, Si-eun remains silent. Eventually, Yeon Shi bids farewell, leaving her contact number in Si-eun's phone before leaving. The next day, Soo-gyum returns to school after enduring a string of humiliations inflicted by Si-eun. He seeks out Si-eun, Soo-ho, and Bom-sok, revealing that he's in deep trouble. It is revealed that, due to the narcotics found in his possession, Soo-gyum faces juvenile detention unless Si-eun and Bom-sok testify to his innocence. Desperate to avoid this fate, Soo-gyum drops to his knees, tears streaming down his face, begging for their help. Moved by his distress, the boys agree to assist him. However, it's a part of his plan and Soo-gyum leads them to a parking lot where Gil-soo and his gang members await. Yeon Shi observes silently as Gil-soo approaches the boys, demanding $15,000 in compensation for the injuries inflicted on his men. He issues a chilling ultimatum: pay up within 3 days or face dire consequences. To emphasize his point, Gil-soo cuts Soo-ho's face, warning them of the consequences of non-compliance. From that moment on, the boys find themselves under constant surveillance by the gangsters, ensuring they can't flee the city. Among them, Bom-sok is the most anxious, fearing his father's wrath if he discovers the situation. On the eve of the deadline, Bom-sok resorts to desperate measures, sneaking into his father's room to steal an expensive watch as a means to meet the gangsters' demands. Meanwhile, Si-eun decides to take action by contacting the authorities, but not before gathering evidence against Gil-soo's criminal activities. He reaches out to Yeon Shi and arranges to meet her at a nearby restaurant. Over their conversation, Si-eun learns that Yeon Shi harbors a deep resentment towards her boss, Gil-soo, for his ruthless treatment of teenagers like herself. In a bid to bring him down, Yeon Shi leaks details of Gil-soo's illegal operations. She reveals that Gil-soo operates an illicit betting app where users initially win small amounts to lure them in, but end up losing significant sums later on. This cycle of debt forces many students into his gang, engaging in unlawful activities under his command. The following morning, Si-eun, Soo-ho, and Bom-sok convene in class to devise a plan. Despite Bom-sok having the $15,000, Si-eun insists they don't need it. Instead, he proposes leveraging their knowledge of Gil-soo's illegal activities to apprehend him. Their plan involves reaching Gil-soo's location, contacting the police, and catching him in the act. As they exit the classroom, they find the gangsters waiting for them. Recognizing the danger, Soo-ho volunteers to proceed alone. He approaches Gil-soo, revealing insider knowledge about the flaws in the gambling app and proposing a meeting to discuss improvements. Intrigued, Gil-soo agrees and invites Soo-ho into his car. Meanwhile, feeling apprehensive, Bom-sok leaves in a taxi, worried about the potential consequences their actions may bring. As Soo-ho arrives at the gangsters' hideout, he quickly sends the location to his friends using his smartwatch. However, his attempt to help is quickly discovered, leading to a brutal assault by the gangsters. Shortly afterward, Bom-sok arrives at the scene, hoping to offer the cash as a way to appease them, but he too is captured. Just as Si-eun arrives with the police, Gil-soo and his gangsters hastily gather their belongings and flee, narrowly evading capture. In a fit of rage, Gil-soo contacts Sok-dae and reprimands him for falling for the boy's ruse. He discloses his current whereabouts and demands Sok-dae's immediate presence. Despite knowing the consequences, Sok-dae initially plans to go alone, but Jun-hee insists on accompanying him. Reluctantly, he agrees. Meanwhile, Si-eun contacts Jun-hee to inquire about Gil-soo's whereabouts. She promptly shares her live location, urging Si-eun to bring the authorities without delay. At an abandoned amusement park, Gil-soo and his gangsters have tied up Soo-ho and Bom-sok, preparing to execute them for their betrayal. However, their plans are disrupted when Sok-dae arrives with Jun-hee. Angered by Sok-dae's decision to bring the girl along, Gil-soo viciously attacks him with a metal bar. In a surprising turn of events, Sok-dae fights back, fueled by years of pent-up frustration and abuse. Despite a valiant effort, Gil-soo eventually gains the upper hand, overpowering Sok-dae. With Sok-dae subdued, Gil-soo turns his attention to Jun-hee, initiating a violent confrontation that puts her life in grave danger. As police sirens blare in the distance, the terrified gangsters hastily flee the scene, leaving Soo-ho, Si-eun, and Bom-sok relieved. However, their relief is short-lived as Gil-soo and his men return, brandishing Si-eun's mobile phone. It is then revealed that the police sirens were merely a recording played from the phone. Another confrontation erupts, with Hyun-wook, despite his injuries, bravely taking on several assailants, while Si-eun uses his intellect to outmaneuver the remaining gang members. In the final scene, Si-eun, along with Jun-hee, visits Hyun-wook at the hospital. Despite his injuries, Hyun-wook maintains a cheerful demeanor, lightening the mood in the room. Witnessing Hyun-wook's resilience and positivity, Si-eun finds himself smiling for the first time in years, surprising everyone present. The following day, Si-eun, Soo-ho, and Bom-sok are hailed as heroes by their classmates, who express gratitude for their role in apprehending the gangster. The incident strengthens the bond between the trio, prompting them to make plans to dine out together at a new restaurant over the weekend. Though Bom-sok harbors reservations about including Jun-hee in their outing, he ultimately agrees, though secretly wishing for a more intimate gathering with just the three of them at home. Meanwhile, Bom-sok feels left out and hurt when he realizes that his friends are paying more attention to Jun-hee than him. To make matters worse, Soo-ho and Jun-hee ignore him during their weekend outing, making him feel unwelcome. As they spend the day together, Bom-sok becomes increasingly isolated and unnoticed by his friends. At a karaoke bar, Bom-sok's feelings of exclusion reach a peak when he sees his former bullies from his previous school. Terrified, he runs away and hides, feeling ashamed of his past. When he returns, he finds Jun-hee holding his phone, which surprises the group and draws unwanted attention. As tensions rise, the bullies arrive looking for Bom-sok but leave when they see Si-eun and Soo-ho with him. Unable to admit that he was bullied, Bom-sok brushes off their concerns and tries to ignore the situation. The next day at school, Bom-sok's frustration boils over, and he lashes out at a classmate for being too loud. When confronted by his friends, Bom-sok refuses to discuss what's bothering him, pushing them further away. For the next few days, Bom-sok doesn't show up at school, causing worry among his friends. One afternoon, Si-eun and Soo-ho decide to visit his house to check on him. They're surprised to find that Bom-sok lives in a huge apartment, confirming the rumors that he's wealthy. Inside, they see a family photo on the wall, and Soo-ho compliments it. However, Bom-sok reveals that he's not really part of the family, he was adopted by his father, who only did so to improve his image in politics. Bom-sok confesses that he's never felt loved by anyone in his family, and being a son felt more like a duty than anything else. He also opens up about being bullied by his previous classmates, who used to hit him all the time. Moved by Bom-sok's story, Soo-ho suggests confronting the bullies. Within the hour, the trio arrives at the karaoke bar where the bullies hang out. They boldly interrupt the bullies and demand an apology. The leader of the bullies, intimidated by Soo-ho's presence, agrees to apologize. However, Bom-sok isn't satisfied with just an apology, he tries to retaliate by hitting the bully with a microphone. But Soo-ho stops him, reminding him that they're here for an apology, not revenge. Bom-sok is furious with Soo-ho for stopping him from retaliating against the bully. He feels like Soo-ho treats him as inferior and doesn't respect him. Si-eun intervenes to stop the argument, and the two friends go their separate ways. On his way home, Bom-sok runs into Ji-hoon and his friends. At the same time, the bullies from his old school also appear. Seeing that Ji-hoon and his friends are from an elite school, Bom-seok takes them to a secluded spot and demands money from them. Seizing the opportunity, he finally stands up to his bully and hits him repeatedly. Ji-hoon and his friends see Bom-seok in a new light and invite him to party with them. Although hesitant at first, Bom-seok agrees and ends up paying for all their drinks that night. The guys even follow him on Instagram, prompting Bom-seok to unfollow Si-eun and Soo-ho. For the first time, Bom-seok feels respected by his friends, and he decides to start a new life with Ji-hoon and his buddies. The next morning, Bom-seok arrives late to class due to a hangover. When Si-eun confronts him, Bom-seok ignores him and goes to sit with his new friends. They thank Bom-seok for paying for their hotel rooms and drinks, making him seem even cooler. However, Bom-seok doesn't remember paying for them, which adds to his mystique. Meanwhile, Si-eun overhears their conversation and becomes worried about his friend. Later, he pulls Bom-seok aside and asks him why he's been acting differently. Bom-seok admits that he always felt disrespected by Soo-ho. He decides he no longer wants anything to do with Si-eun and Soo-ho. As the days go by, Bom-seok gets closer to Ji-hoon and his group, even changing his seat to be with them all the time. One night, they take him to a club where they encounter Soo-gyum, the trio's old enemy. Soo-gyum doesn't mind hanging out with Bom-seok now that they share the same enemy. When he learns about Bom-seok's father's reputation, he instantly becomes popular among Soo-gyum's new group of friends. This makes Bom-seok feel relevant, although they only want to take advantage of him for his money. Somewhere else, Si-eun and Soo-ho meet to talk about Bom-seok. Soo-ho thinks that Bom-seok was only with them for their popularity and is now doing the same with the other group. However, Si-eun is worried about Bom-seok. The next day, Soo-ho and Tae get into an altercation when Tae's group cuts the line for lunch. Soo-ho teaches them a lesson by making them get in line like everyone else. However, Bom-seok refuses to oblige and challenges Soo-ho. As a result, he is shoved to the table and has to embarrassingly walk away in a fit of rage. Bom-seok goes to Soo-jam and his new friend, Yeon, who happens to be an MMA fighter. Bom-seok hires Yeon to beat up Soo-ho. Yeon is happy about the opportunity because he once lost to Soo-ho in a match and wants to teach him a lesson. That evening, he and his friends mess with the tires of Soo-ho's scooter, hoping to cause an accident and give Yeon the upper hand. When they fight, their plan works, and Soo-ho crashes, injuring his leg. Bom-seok seems happy to see Soo-ho limping. They lock eyes in class, and Soo-ho gives him a knowing look, making it clear that he suspects Bom-seok of messing with his scooter. A few days later is Soo-ho's birthday. Jun-hee and Si-eun plan to surprise him, but this is also the day Yeon is supposed to fight Soo-ho. While waiting for Soo-ho, Yeon gets a text from Bom-seok. He calls her outside, pretending to have a birthday present for Soo-ho. Even though Jun-hee is asked not to tell anyone about the text, she doesn't suspect Bom-seok and goes to meet him. While talking to him, she slowly realizes that she has been set up. Her suspicion is confirmed when she sees Soo-jam and his friends nearby. Back at home, Si-eun and Soo-ho meet up and wait for Jun-hee to return. Suddenly, Si-eun notices a text from Bom-seok on Soo-ho's phone. He opens it out of curiosity and is shocked to find out that Bom-seok has taken Jun-hee hostage. He immediately texts back and turns the phone off so Bom-seok won't find out about the incident. He has decided to take care of the situation himself to protect Soo-ho. After making up an excuse to get out of the house, Si-eun goes to the warehouse. Bom-seok is surprised to see him and wants to cancel the plan because he holds no grudges against Si-eun. But Soo-jam is happy to see Si-eun since he can finally take revenge. At first, Si-eun tries to drag Jun-hee away from the warehouse, asking her to run away, but he is caught himself. He tries fighting the thugs, but he doesn't stand a chance against an MMA fighter like Yeon. Eventually, Soo-jam and his gang hit him repeatedly, and all Bom-seok can do is walk away. Half an hour later, the police arrive and find Si-eun passed out on the ground. When asked about what happened, he claims that it was an accident to keep Bom-seok out of trouble. He even goes as far as to ask Jun-hee to keep everything secret from Soo-ho. Soo-ho wakes up the next morning and realizes his friends didn't return last night. He starts getting worried when Si-eun doesn't pick up his call. After school, he goes to Jun-hee and inquires about what happened last night, but she dismisses the conversation. As a last resort, he approaches Ji-hoon and his minions and finally finds out about what happened in the warehouse. He gathers them up on the roof and beats them up for what they did to his friend. After school, he goes to meet Si-eun to make sure he is okay while pretending to be unaware of what happened. Meanwhile, at Bom-seok's home, his father beats him up and threatens to kill him as soon as he returns from the Philippines, where he is being sent to attend a foreign school. Having had enough, Bom-seok stands up to him for the first time and runs away in a taxi. In the following scene, we see that Soo-ho is looking for Bom-seok to teach him a lesson. He finds Soo-jam and asks him where Bom-seok is, only to find out he has been missing since that night. Just then, he gets a call from Bom-seok and is asked to come to the gym. It turns out that Bom-seok has still not gotten over wanting to teach Soo-ho a lesson and has gathered his entire group to watch him get beat up. Soo-ho apologizes to Bom-seok, taking him by surprise. He thinks that their enmity has crossed a line and he wants them to be friends again. But even after this, Bom-seok remains adamant about getting revenge on Soo-ho. At last, he accepts the challenge, agreeing to go one-on-one with Wee-young. The fight starts, and Wee-young goes straight for Soo-ho's injured leg. This works as an advantage for him for the first half of the game, but Soo-ho soon bounces back. The gangsters make a video of the fight to upload on the internet later. When Soo-ho takes over the match, someone pulls his legs to distract him. This gives Wee-young the upper hand, and he knocks Soo-ho to the ground. Bom-seok joins them in the ring and starts kicking Soo-ho's limp body. All the others join in, mercilessly kicking and stomping on him. This goes on for hours before Bom-seok's assistant arrives and asks them to stop. When they finally do, the guys check Soo-ho's pulse and figure out he is dead. They make a run for it, and in shock, Bom-seok has to be pulled away. The assistant picks up two guys from the gang and asks that they pretend like Soo-ho passed out. As they were working out, Bom-seok's assistant decides to paint the incident as an accident to save Bom-seok and his father's reputation. Later, Soo-ho is taken away in an ambulance. The next day in class, Si-eun is still unaware of what happened to Soo-ho. He suddenly gets a call from Jun-hee and runs to the hospital. It turns out Soo-ho isn't dead but is in a coma. His grandmother was made to sign confidentiality papers so the matter would end right away. Si-eun breaks into tears seeing his friend in such a critical condition. The following day, Si-eun goes to Soo-jam and beats him up, thinking he is the one who hit Soo-ho. But he is shown the video of the fight which clearly shows Bom-seok and Wee-young are the perpetrators. With burning rage, Si-eun goes to Wee-young and attacks him with a rod. But being a professional fighter, Wee-young blocks him. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Si-eun's actions have consequences. He is forced to transfer to a new school due to his involvement in the violent incident. On his first day at the new school, a bully approaches him, looking for trouble. As the bully confronts him, Si-eun stares back, holding a pen in his hand, reminiscent of his demeanor from the beginning of the series. It's clear that he's prepared to defend himself if necessary, symbolizing his resilience and determination to overcome adversity. Meanwhile, Soo-ho remains in a coma, supported by his friends and grandmother who visit him regularly. Despite the severity of his condition, he's not alone, surrounded by the people who care about him. As for Bom-seok's father, he chooses not to press charges against Si-eun after witnessing the video of his son's violent actions. This decision reflects a shift in perspective, perhaps recognizing the complexities of the situation and the role his own son played in the events that unfolded. The series ends with a sense of unresolved tension, leaving viewers to ponder the futures of the characters and the consequences of their actions. Si-eun's stance with the pen in hand symbolizes both his readiness to confront challenges and the lingering presence of conflict in his life.
Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this.